Hey everybody, Pastor Joel here. I'm joined by Kristy this morning. We're talking about these two big words that Kristy knows more about than I do: permaculture and monoculture, as it relates to our property, the land, and how we live in it and interact with it. And hopefully, in a few minutes here, we'll get to talk about what Harmony Springs' general mission and vision is for how we live on the land which our building is being built on and almost done right now. Uh, Kristy, maybe explain those two couple words to us and how they relate to Harmony Springs property and how it's been farmed over the last decade or more, as long as we can remember.
Yeah, so the land has been in a corn and soybean rotation for, I think my whole life at least. Um, and those two crops will work well together, but eventually you will have some soil deterioration. And I think that's kind of the what we're going into right now is land that has been a little bit deteriorated by this monoculture farming that we've had. So hopefully we will be able to sort of put in a more diverse crop and replenish the soil over the years.
So let's unpack that word for a second. So mono means one, right, or singular. So it's been
Mhm.
our property or the land there has been farmed mostly by corn with a rotation every so many years with soybeans. So a very singular focus. But as we move forward, we've talked about doing some things on the property like, well, of course, the garden project that you have come on board with us starting in January here to help really blossom and develop, and growing all kinds of crops that interact with each other or help each other in a lot of ways. We've discussed that. And then what we do with the rest of the property, the farmer is going to keep farming part of it in corn or soybeans, but as we continue to work on the land, we've talked about doing some other things with the property there, including ways that people at Harmony Springs can be involved in creating a sort of more biodiverse approach to the land. So maybe talk a little bit about, will you share a little bit about your vision for how we can kind of create that diversity on the property, on the land?
Just focusing on, well, we're going to be focusing on increasing food security and doing that in a way that doesn't deplete the property. So although we'll be planting a lot of annual vegetables, we're going to try to do that in such a way that it's going to be um, not removing nutrients from the soil and topsoil. We're not going to be having a lot of loss through runoff and things like that that you often see with till farming that we've had there. So sort of having a diverse crop for the people in the church and in the community, it will help to improve the quality of the land and the quality of food that we're able to distribute.
So it sounds like the one of the most important things for us to be able to, you know, enrich the soil, and because it's been likely depleted because of the singular use over the last how many years. There are a number of things we can do, and we were talking about at our previous staff meeting about testing the soil to see where it is, and then we can kind of make a plan for how we can best enrich it to best grow the things we want to grow on it, and to create that sort of uh, permaculture, biodiverse uh, angle on the land. Maybe tell us a little bit about what you do then. Once we get the soil test back, what are some things we can do to help enrich the soil? And uh, for those of us who are lay people who can barely keep a tomato plant alive, maybe talk about permaculture and what that means a little bit. Will you do that?
Sure. So what we need is to build up the soil. Right now, I would say we have dirt, um, but I feel like once you add some nutrients, once you do the soil test, we'll be able to find out what the soil needs to be most productive, and then make amendments from there. Probably going to be a lot of fertilizer, natural manure fertilizer, and composting. So if we can get going on that, I think that we'll be able to, over the years, see a gradual improvement, and it'll really be, hopefully, a transformational sort of thing. We should take a lot of pictures at the start and be able to compare them 10 years down the road.
Awesome. You mentioned the word composting, and we've been discussing this a little bit, and we came up with this crazy idea to have people collect their compost in their own home. So, Harmony Springs, as you're listening to this down the road here, hopefully, maybe you'll be excited about collecting compost. Is that something you get excited about? Some people do. Kristy does, I know. And then you can bring it into church on when you're there on Sundays or whenever, and we can collect all of that compost, which puts all those nutrients back in the soil that Kristy's talking about, and we can really transform the land and the soil, make it soil instead of dirt, and really be able to grow some really great stuff. Tell us, Kristy, about a little bit more about the composting idea and what we might be asking people to do.
I really like this idea because it gives us all a chance to sort of get involved in the process. It gives us a chance to provide to increase the soil health and to nurture the land that is going to nurture us. And I think that that's a very important an important aspect to understand, that we have a mutual relationship with the land, and we can all contribute to making things better. I used to have a sticker on my car, and it said, "We are all part of the problem. We are all part of the solution."
Mm.
And I really like that idea, that we, as people often don't understand the consequences of the food that's grown for us to eat. Like, there are a lot of environmental externalities that we don't see because we're so far removed from the process. Um, and having a growing site there, we're going to be able to see the consequences and see the consequences of taking the food, and also of our contributions as well. So I really love the idea that everybody can get involved in this, and see the results of their action.
I'm I'm especially excited about that too. I know we're all excited to get in the building, and as Kristy and I have talked, we're excited to get in the soil and the dirt and really start working on all that acreage that we have there on Arlington Road. Uh, and I think this is just the start as we've been discussing things. We're talking rain barrels, rain collection systems off of the building, and being able to use that to water our plants. And uh, I think that it's just the start. We'll be able to do all kinds of things with the goal, hopefully, of becoming more climate positive with at least our property, the church, and to be able to do just what Kristy was saying, to be part of the solution, and to give a positive contribution to the earth and creation, which is what our calling is, I think, as a church, and has been so important to us for so long. So, Kristy, we're excited to have you working with us and working in the soil and getting dirty and helping us get dirty, and we're looking forward to being able to get out there and get this process started. Thanks for joining me and having this discussion, and helping us lead the way here at Harmony Springs. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.